Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
I'm Sam. Hello, everyone.
I didn't know you say Healy or
I
hello.
thought I was going to say Healy, yeah.
Healy. Anyway, today we're taking a look at Dragon Castle. Now, this was one of the games when going into Essen Fair that was on your top 10, I believe
so. I believe so, because it looked like an awesome mah-jong, the computer game inspired endeavor.
Since I've never played mah-jong or mah-jong, the computer game, and probably will go to my deathbed with that in place, I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
I'll get you some Windows 95 and you can make that happen.
Gotta kick it old school.
I was busy playing Spider back then.
All right.
But so this is a game that when we got to Essen, I was really surprised that one of the designers of this was the same one who designed Photosynthesis, which is a game all three of us really enjoyed.
Yep.
Abstract games aren't bad, especially when you have these nice thick tiles to throw around. Let's take a look at how the game plays.
So in a game of Dragon Castle, the main point of the game is to have the most points at the end of the game, and you get points by a number of victory tokens that you've collected over the course of the game. You simply add them up and they give you those victory points. Building shrines on your player board on top of the tiles that you've placed will score you a number of different points depending upon the level that the shrine resides upon. So a level 1 will score you 1 point, level 2 will score you 2, and 3 will score you 3, and so forth and so on. Then there are also the countdown tokens down here that will trigger the end of the game. They are also worth 2 points, so however many of those will give you 2 points each. And then if you are scoring using the dragon variant of the game, then they will give you some different scoring opportunities as well. During your turn, you're basically going to take an action, and that action can either be taking a pair of tiles from the Dragon Castle, or taking one tile and a shrine and adding it to your board, or you can discard a tile from the Dragon Castle, and that will give you 1 point every time you do that. And if you do just discard a tile, you would take it and put it face down next to your board. Now, when you take tiles from the Dragon Castle, you can only take available tiles. And an available tile is a tile that has at least one of its long edges free, available, where there isn't one adjacent to it. Additionally, when you take 2 tiles, the first tile has to be from the top level, and then the second tile can be from any level that you want. Another caveat is that both of the tiles that you take must match completely with both number of symbols on it and the colors. So, for example, if I wanted to, I could take this one and this one and add it to my player board. Or I could take, let's see here, I could take this 6 and this 6 down here. Additionally, let's see if I can find another one. I could take this one red and that one red because they are both available, and so forth and so on. Now, if I take one tile, it has to come from the top, but of course it doesn't matter because it's not going to match anything. And then I would take one of these things and add it to the thing like this. I could take 1 and 1 and add it to my board. Now, when you place tiles on your board, let's say that I went ahead and chose to take these 2 right here. I can place them anywhere on my board that I would like to. They can be adjacent to each other, but they don't have to be. I could do something like this, for example. But they do both have to go face up. Then let's say on my next turn, I take these 2 right here, and I place them adjacent like this. Then I have finished a grouping, and I'm going to score that grouping. And the number of points you get are delineated right here. So if I have a grouping of 4, that's going to score me 2 points. If I have a grouping of 5, 3, 6, and 5, and so forth and so on. So with this one, I would score by turning them over like so. If I do that, I would score 2 points, which gets me 2 of these tiles here. And then I'm going to be able to place one spire in the game like so, or shrine rather, and now that is locked in for the rest of the game. Now, when I place new tiles on this, I can place them on these 1 levels here, or I can place them on top of tiles that have already been turned over like so. Now, when you place tiles, when you turn them over and score a group, it's determined by what kind of group you're scoring. If you're doing the merchants, farmers, or soldiers, you just get to place 1 shrine. But if you do one of the seasons or winds groupings, a blue or black, then you'll be able to place 2 shrines, provided you have that number of shrines available. And then the dragon tiles as well allow you to place 2 shrines, but they also give you a victory point as well when you complete a set of dragon tiles. Now, when you have your grouping here that you're going to turn over and score points for them, they have to be orthogonally adjacent to one another. Something like this would not have flipped over that grouping, or this would be okay. But if you have one that's part of the group that's not orthogonal, then it cannot be flipped. But had you added, let's say, another one right here, then that would be a grouping of 5. You'd actually score 3 points for that. So they have to be orthogonally adjacent to one another in order to flip them over and score them. Now, once the tiles get down to only level 1 left, like right now, these are level 1, these are level 2, and these are level 3. Once these level 2 and 3 tiles have been taken and are no longer available, and there are only level 1s left, then another action comes available that you can take, and that is taking one of these countdown tokens. Once the tiles get down to level 1 only, people can, instead of taking a tile from here, take a countdown token, which is basically making the end of the game come faster than normal. So once somebody takes this tile, it's fine, the game continues as normal, but once somebody takes this tile and shows the exclamation mark, then that is the final round of the game, and all of the players will have an equal number of turns based upon whoever was the first player at the beginning of the game. So it is possible for this one to be taken before the end of the game happens, but maybe not. It just depends on what people would like to do. And then people will simply add up the number of shrines that they have, the number of victory point tokens that they've taken over the course of the game, the number of countdown tokens they have, and then we'll come back to these here. These are dragon cards and spirit cards, and these are different things that the game will allow you to do after you have a few games under your belt. The dragon cards are simply different kinds of scoring mechanisms that will be added to the game to change up how the game scores. So for example, this one here says that for all of your soldier, farmer, and merchant tiles that you have on top on the 3rd level, will score a number of points denoted by the number of icons that are on them. So for example, this soldier here is a 4. There's 4 swords on here, so he will, if he's on the 3rd level of your castle, then he will score you 4 points. And then this merchant here will score you 6. Whereas this one would only score you 3, and so forth and so on. This farmer here will score you 4 points if he is on the 3rd level of your board at the end of the game. And then this one over here is a special power. This is a spirit card. Now, in order to activate a spirit card during the course of the game, you would have to either discard a shrine or a tile that is still face up from your board here in order to activate this shrine, so this spirit. So what this guy allows you to do is if you take one from here, you can then take one that is back here as well, even if you normally would not be able to do that. So that's what this denotes. And then if you look at these later on, there's a whole lot of different kinds of abilities here. There's 10 spirit cards, and then there are also 10 dragon cards, which give different kinds of scoring possibilities throughout the course of the game as well. So there's a lot of variability here, and so that is a good thing. Now, the game does come with a number of player boards. For example, this is for 3, this one is for 2, and then this one is for 4 players on the other side of the board. And then the book also has a number of different setups that you can use for, basically just changing how the game plays and so forth and so on. So there's a number of different things that are in there that will help you differentiate the game from time to time. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner, and that is how you play Dragon Castle.
Okay, so Dragon Castle, you had it on your top 10 anticipated games.
Yeah.
Does it meet those expectations?
Well, again, the idea was what I understood about the game at that point was that it was a match 2 tile sort of concept. You built up, this is a lot like the computer game in case you're not familiar with it. You built up this, structure, you match 2 tiles, you remove them, and then the game part kicked in, which was not part of the computer game. You were just trying to eliminate all the tiles by matching them. Well, now
super boring.
It was just a match 2 kind of game, right? Like apps now, sort of on the phone, do that. But the other half, this concept of building something up and matching, sort of matching again, that part, which is more what I figured, I wasn't sure if I was going to like or not. I knew I'd like the other stuff. I thought was very nice for the most part. My main concern there being it can be quite fiddly. Putting all of these tiles together, building up the structure, and then on top of that, when you do complete a set, having to flip them over can certainly be just fiddly is the best word I can think of for it. But it is a fun activity. It is a fun game.
I agree with everything you said. The fiddly part, it probably doesn't bother me as much, although I don't know to the extent to which it bothers you. But it was really fiddly, especially the turning over part. I wasn't necessarily concerned with piecing everything together on my board, but when you have to flip over 4 up to 6 or 7 tiles,
sure,
that can take some time, and you're just like, go ahead, I got this. It's just what you have to do, because otherwise the game just really bogs down with waiting for people to flip everything over, make sure everything is straight. And then there's another thing, that slight concern with wanting everything to look nice and straight, and
it's also known as OCD.
No, it's not OCD. It's just a desire to have it look nice on the board that fiddles with that desire.
Well, I didn't have any problems with that. I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Okay.
But I think we can all agree that the tiles are amazing quality.
Oh, yeah.
It's very well made.
I mean, it's
very
a
well made.
fairly hefty box. There's the tiles, the bag, the boards. I mean, the artwork on the cards is amazing, even though you don't see much of it, right? But it looks really good.
I think the
moves are cool too.
Yeah, I think the artwork on the entire package is very stunning. I love the cover. I love the pieces. It looks, it's not, but it looks like a proper mah-jong set of tiles. Some of the iconography, especially on the purple tiles, can be a little close to some of the other ones. So just kind of be attentive to that. It's not a big deal. It's not a problem really, but they are a little bit close. But the production quality here is fantastic. I mean, big props to Horrible Games for the job they did on this production.
Yeah.
Now, I like several things about the game, but one of the things I really like is the addition, the advanced rules, the adding in the dragon for scoring and the animal spirit for special powers.
Right.
And that's because it makes every game feel different. Combine that with, in the book, they show like 8 different ways to set up the tiles.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I mean, it's not huge differences, but I'm fine with that because I think the base game's fine anyway.
Yeah.
But it just means each game has a slightly refreshed thing. The scoring of the dragons will drastically change the game.
Yeah, sure, it could, right.
But I mean...
But it's fair. Everyone knows what it is up front.
Yep.
Everyone is dealing with the same rule the entire game.
Right.
And so it's just a nice variant. It's like they went ahead and included variants right in the base game. I like that.
So that was one thing I really enjoyed. The other thing I enjoyed is the game is fairly quick. I mean, yeah, you can get to points where someone is going to sit there and go, what tile am I going to take? But it's usually not that hard. You're sitting there going, I want some more yellow tiles because I want to make a big group of yellow. Or I want that tile because it's the only tile on the top level that has a match anywhere on the board.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what I want to do. And it's not that difficult, or sometimes you just want an extra roof for whatever reason.
Yeah.
When you put the roofs out, you just put them in places that won't hinder you. Again, it's not. The only time that changes really is when the dragon scoring card is there, and that will maybe, I want stuff on the outside, I want whatever,
Right.
Based on that card. And so because it moves so quickly, it keeps things going. I will say that I like it far greater with 2. I think it's fine with 4 and with 3, but 2 is amazing for me because the board doesn't change that much between turns. Like when I play a 4-player game, I'm like, ooh, I want blue tiles. I sure hope there's some on my turn.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing one other person, I can say, okay, I want blue tile. He's probably not going to take that other blue tile.
Yeah, it's more strategic with the 2-player game. It's more tactical with a 4-player game, I think, because you really do have to kind of wait to see what's available for you at the beginning of your turn before you can go forward. And then it's more like you're reacting to what you have left. With a 2-player game, it feels much more strategic, where you have a plan in order and you can follow that plan for the most part, because the other person, unless the other person just happens to be going for the exact same thing that you're going for,
Right.
It's not really going to mess with you that much. So yeah, I can understand how you would feel that way about 2 versus 4 players.
But I do think that it is as far as it being a family weight game, I don't think it actually scales badly. It's just going to give you a different feel,
Yes.
depending on the number on the player count. But it retains its sort of family weight and speed feel, no matter how many people you're playing with, which I like very much. I think it does that particularly well. This is, in my opinion, posed to be a fantastic hit, a fantastic family, light strategy, casual game. It's got the looks, it's got the cadence, like it's a quick game, right? It's simple scoring, it's variable enough. You can play with, I bet, a bunch of different ages, It really, it's a great package. It is very well thought out and put together.
What do you think about the variable end of the game? The game ending can come really fast, or you can really stretch it out. The players are determining that. What do you think?
I thought that was great. I thought that it was a nice... it's always like one of the things that is usually touch and go for me in most games, actually, I always worry about is how does the game end, right? You always have that whole, once this happened, everyone takes one more turn. Once this other thing happens, it just ends immediately. Something surprises you out of a bag or something. There are so many, and that's one of those things that can ruin the end, like the final stretch of a game for me. I thought this was great because it is determined by the players. If someone is ready for the game to be over, they've done something well. And you need to, as quickly as you can, catch up to that before they pull out that rug from under you. It is part of the game. It is not something that happens to you. It is something you make happen. And that's really neat. And again, it adds to the vibe here, which is do the best you can as quickly as you can. And if you're ready for the game to be over, then finish it. I like it.
I think with a 2-player game that we were playing the other day, it felt like we weren't really kind of ending that game as fast as it would have ended in a 3 or 4-player game. I think with a 3 or 4-player game, you're going to be gauging how well you think you're doing compared to everybody else, and you might want to end it prematurely. But in a 2-player game, you want to kind of push your luck a little bit more and not end the game prematurely. You want to suck as many points out of the game as possible before the game ends. So I didn't see the people going for those dragon tiles as quickly in a 2-player game as they did in a 3 or 4-player.
Yeah, but you haven't played me. I played one game where I was like, all right, we're done. A 2-player game, I just grabbed the tile. Now I lost by 1 point, but it was to Jason, so I feel like I won.
No, you ended the game prematurely.
But I feel like, no, but see, here's the thing. I felt like I had done the scoring properly, and I was like, all right, I need to end this game before he can score enough points to stop me. And also, taking those tiles is 2 points.
Yeah.
So that feels like you're not totally wasting your turn. 2 points is nothing to scoff at.
True.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the scores are very close usually, so it does, it is this, for me anyway, this gut feeling of, am I winning? Does it seem like I'm winning? Maybe I should just grab 2 points and put some pressure on the opponents.
Yeah.
I enjoy that being a point of decision as opposed to just something that happens.
Yeah.
All right, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. This is a strong. I'm going to give it 2 red dragons up, and the reason I'll probably put it around a 7, 7.5 as far as a numerical rating for it is concerned. This is the kind of abstract game that I usually gravitate towards. It is seeming to be part of a new breed of abstract games that are coming out, where they have great looking components. They're colorful. There is something to look at. They are aesthetically pleasing on the board. And on top of that, they're also not difficult to play, but they are still difficult to master. And I don't mean that as a cliche saying. This is just one of the games that I really have enjoyed, even though I usually don't like abstract strategy games. So
I think you're not going to be able to say that soon.
7.5 out of 10. Well, that's probably true. I guess to say I'm very picky about the games. Like the Gift series, boring. I know you guys love them, but that's boring to me. I just don't like those at all. And that seems to be the norm. And it still is kind of the norm, but we have this batch of abstract games that are coming out now that are what I'm calling the new breed, that do that whole abstract strategy thing well, but they look good as well.
How about you?
I am also going to give it 2 roofed castles up. For me, it's at least a strong 8. This game is very good. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. I think having that basis of clicky computer game mah-jong, and then with a game built around that game built around it is going to appeal to strategic gamers and then just gamers in general. But I think that core is going to grab a lot of people's attention, people that are not necessarily board gamers. And this game is going to keep them at the table. It's a very strong contender. Very happy with it.
Well, I think I like it the best, actually, between all of us. I will also give it 2 giant stacks of tiles up. Huge fan of this. I didn't really know what to expect putting it out, but I was kind of enamored by the just a huge, the way everything looked. I liked the clink of the things, but I also liked how fast the game was and the different scoring. It reminds me a bit of Santorini. In Santorini, each person has different powers, which change every game. In this one, everyone has the same power.
Right.
But it still changes every game because I don't remember how many spirit animals, dragons, but let's say there's 10 of each. That's 100 different combinations. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of different games. Mix that with the number of castles.
Right.
I really think this one has legs. I think a lot of people should play this. I think that it's coming out from Simon later on next year, so it should probably have a wider release. Well, I expect it to be pretty much the same thing as this, because this is a sequel of sorts to the Marble one, Potion Explosion. It's in that same category, and I think it's going to appeal to the same people. Because Potion Explosion was a game that had kind of an app feel to it. Well, I mean, obviously, but I think this one also has that same thing to it. Right. Build stuff, and it all turns over. So. Dragon Castle, really like it a lot. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia, thank you.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.